Today's show is brought to you by our sponsors, Speech, one of the leading football fantasy games in the market. Use the link in our description below now to sign up to your free account. It's free to play. It covers all the major European leagues. And of course, is fronted by none other than Jurgen Klopp. Make sure you're hitting the likes and share buttons as well today, subscribing to the Football Terrace. And we're here to talk about Antonio Rudiger. One of the biggest and most improved players in the last 12 to 18 months in European football. Absolutely brilliant. I would say 50% of Chelsea fans, up until Thomas Tuchel arrived, would have been quite happy to have seen Antonio Rudiger leave. I don't think there would have been much love lost. There wouldn't have been much frustration. I don't think there would have been huge arguments. Let's go and get someone better. The improvements in this man have been absolutely sensational. Sensational. You now have a situation where some of Europe's leading clubs, Real Madrid, Manchester United, Spurs also want him. I'm not calling them a leading European club. And in some respects, Manchester United are not either. But big clubs are looking at him. PSG, Bayern Munich, Real Madrid. With his contract coming to an end, he's available, in some respects, relatively cheaply. But what next? What next for the German? That's the big question for me. That's the big question for me when it comes to this situation. And there's lots to delve into because the story is rather complex. It's understood that Chelsea are prioritising Antonio Rudiger over Andreas Christensen, both looking to not sign new deals. Chelsea's hierarchy are upset that Christian walked away from two contract offers they felt had been agreed. That comes from The Athletic. Chelsea do want to keep the man. There is absolutely no doubt about it whatsoever. You know, Rudiger has stated about his own Chelsea future that I feel great here. I've always said it. I think the way I play, you can see that I am happy. But there are also other people who have to make decisions. And that's really, really key. I think Rudiger wants to stay at Chelsea. I think that's clear for everybody this season. Performances are great. He's not sulking or angry about the situation at all. Not one little bit. However, the new deal hasn't been done. Now, there were some stories a few months ago now that the likes of Real Madrid were willing to offer £300,000 to £400,000 a week to take Antonio Rudiger on. This has subsequently got back to Chelsea that Real Madrid only offered about £140,000 to £150,000 a week. Chelsea believing they've got a bigger advantage in the negotiations. The sticking point, the real sticking point for Chelsea is what other clubs are willing to pay Antonio Rudiger. The money in football is growing astronomically. We have just seen the new American TV deal, the new American Premier League TV deal is absolutely astronomical. I'm just searching it here. NBC will remain the Premier League broadcasting home in the United States after winning a competitive bid process, reportedly offering more than £2 billion extra for the next 6 years. So it's an extra £2 billion now pumped into the Premier League over the course of the next 2 years. I actually worked that out as an example. I didn't do this before I went live, even though these are recorded. I kind of like the element. It's £2 billion. You divide that by 20 teams. That's an extra £100 million on top of what they were already getting. Already getting, on top. In the region of around 16 to 20 million pounds extra in the back pockets of each of these Premier League clubs. And for Chelsea, that's a guarantee of an extra £100 million. They're not going to be the only ones. Multiple, the domestic TV rights used to dwarf the collective international TV rights. It's expected that over the next 5 to 6 years, that is going to change massively. It's going to just exponentially keep growing and growing and growing and growing and growing. Clubs it's anticipated will be earning through foreign TV deal money. So why the Premier League is the biggest and the best league in the world, by the way, somewhere in the region of between 35 and £65 million a year extra. That's just from foreign TV deals. By the way, as more viewers watch it internationally, that means clubs can charge more for their sponsors. It's a knock-on effect. They will eventually push the UK TV companies to pay more. Most think somebody like Amazon will eventually come in and take the lion's share of the TV rights. That will be an extra 30, 40, 50 million pounds a year. And who rightfully wants this? The players. The players want to get their cut. They're the reason we're tuning in, essentially. Irrespective of how much we love our clubs, listen, let's speak bluntly. If Chelsea, Man United, Liverpool, I'm going to pick those three clubs. If those three clubs suddenly started fielding League One level players, drop down the lower echelons of league football, diehards would stay. A lot of fans would walk away. There's just kind of rhymed. Diehards will stay, but a lot of casuals will walk away. The players are an important part. They want to get their cut. Manchester United are waiting in the wings. Waiting in the wings. Man United are willing, it's reported, to pay up to £300,000 a week to bring Antonio Rudiger in. Man United are willing to meet the huge offer and wage demands of the Chelsea star. We obviously know the 28-year-old is out of contract with the European champions at the end of this season, and talks over an extension are kind of still locked in a stalemate. Many sources believe that Manchester United have already held preliminary talks over a deal with Rudiger's camp and are ready to agree terms if his talks with Chelsea collapse. So it's very important to not just read the headlines. Chelsea still want him. Rudiger still wants Chelsea. But it's the if. Man United and Rudiger have had conversations. This I'm very, very sure of. And the reason I say that is because Rudiger and his team would be stupid not to be talking to other clubs right now, because Chelsea so far have not made an offer which they deem to be acceptable. They most likely will come to a happy medium or will get the offer that they want, but Man United are certainly looking at the player. There is no doubt about it. What's being said is Man United are willing to almost pay double that of what Chelsea are. Now, you've got to weigh all these things together. Man United need a new centre-back. If you don't bring somebody in of Antonio Rudiger's quality, how much would a player of his quality or better cost you in this current market? If you look at the likes of Jules Koundé, who are linked to Chelsea, you're talking 60 to 70 million pounds to bring that individual in. Let's just say 60 million pound that you're looking at there. Plus, they're going to be on £200,000 a week over a 5-year period. Okay. So if you suddenly do the maths on that, I'm doing this live for you right now. That's £10 million a year in salary over a 5-year deal. That's £52 million in itself, plus the £60 million fee on top. Plus you add around about 5% all encompassing for agent fees, etc., legal fees. It's about 117 to 118 million pound investment in a Jules Koundé. Okay. Well, let's work out Antonio Rudiger. You pay him 300 grand a week. It's 15 million a year for a 5-year deal. It's an 80 million pound situation. You plus the 5% on for agents fees, plus maybe I'm going to put a big 15 million pound signing on fee. It might not even be that big. You're still talking under 100 million. Antonio Rudiger for a Man United or a Tottenham on a free at 300 grand a week is about 30 million pounds cheaper than buying a top quality centre back in the market and paying them the going rate. One of the reasons why net spend isn't real, by the way, because you never factor in all the other elements. Nobody ever does, because it's just boring, I suppose. But at the end of the day, Antonio Rudiger has massive options to move to Manchester United and other clubs. Tottenham's situation is very, very interesting. They're definitely looking at the player. However, it does appear now that, like their North London compatriots, where it was being reported that calls were being ignored, it does appear that Paratici is trying to get in contact daily with Antonio Rudiger's team. The cost of the deal has now escalated outside of the club's price range, even though it's on a free transfer. That's the problem. Paratici is trying to keep his foot in the door should something go wrong. So it does appear that Tottenham are almost out of the race now. mainly based on the fact that Manchester United are willing to come in and pay 300 grand a week. So when I look at this, I look at it from this point of view. I think Chelsea are the front runners. I think Chelsea have a brilliant opportunity of getting a deal done. I think in his heart of hearts, he wants to stay. However, if they don't offer him the right amount of money, it presents Manchester United with an opportunity. An opportunity, though, they're going to have to pay through the nose for in terms of salary. But that in itself comes with a caveat. It feels very Alexis Sanchez. Not in terms of the trajectory of the play or a position, but paying someone lots more money than their current club is willing to, or a rival is willing to sign them. Is that the right way for Manchester United to be doing business? Or do you believe Antonio Rudiger is a different level? Once he chooses his team, he's going to give 110% each and every single time. What does appear to be the case right now is Tottenham are not in this race. They can't afford it. But the reason that Paratici is keeping his foot in the door, throwing his hat into the mix, is Chelsea still may not come up with a happy medium. Man United may end up looking elsewhere. A different opportunity could present itself. Rafael Varane was never on Manchester United's radar. They were looking at Pau Torres. They were looking at Jules Koundé. When Varane became available, they dropped those deals and moved for the four times Champions League and World Cup winner. World Cup winner and 4 times Champions League winner, not 4 World Cups, in case anybody tries to twist the words. So it's a very interesting situation indeed for Antonio Rudiger. What do you think is going to happen, though? That's the big question for me. What do you think is going to happen? How do you think this is going to play out? What do you think the player is going to do? I want your comments. I want your thoughts. I want your feelings. I want you to share this stream across social media platforms. A big shout out to our title sponsors again, Spitch. One of the best up-and-coming football fantasy games in the market. You need to get yourself signed up now. It's free to do. The links are in our description below. Until next time, my brilliant, brilliant people, look after yourselves. Take care. Goodbye. God bless. And we'll see you all again soon. Peace.